So what's up everybody, welcome back to my another videos of Hackintosh. So today you guys have already know about Clover and OpenCore already. It is a bootloader, allows you guys to run macOS on Windows PC. So today installing macOS on the PC take less than an hour. You guys can check my videos on my YouTube channel. So here are these videos that shows you guys how to install macOS on Windows PC. So here it is. Alright, so I've done tons of videos shows you guys how to install macOS on Windows PC, but did you know that almost 20 years ago, so here it is, so like almost 20 years ago, it required a hacktivity, modified kernels, and sometimes a mysterious USB dongle that cost nearly $200. You guys will know it later. And this is an evolution of Hackintosh bootloader. So let's get started in this video. So for the beginning of the OS x86 project, so you guys already know about Apple switch it to Intel, and that because people realize macOS theoretically run on ordinary PC. That problem wasn't the CPU, it was the EFI. Mac uses EFI firmware while almost every PC still booted with BIOS. That single difference made booting macOS almost impossible, and developers began patching the kernel itself. Instead of making PCs behave like Macs, they modified macOS to tolerate PCs. It worked, but every system updates broke everything. Hackintosh existed, but it was sustainable. Alright, so in 2008, something changed. Instead of modifying macOS, it takes a lot of time. So what if we can modify it? The boot in you can modify it when it's boot. That is exactly boot 132 did. So I don't know if you guys know boot 132, but it is very first of the macOS bootloader, and it's rather than booting directly from the hard drive, and user first inserted a custom boot CD, so you can check it on the YouTube. And the CDs, it's loaded the own boot EFI, so I guess so it is somewhere here. So I guess it is somewhere here. And after that, the original macOS installation DVD could continue booting almost normally for the first time. Many users can install an almost vanilla version of macOS, so you can go to the Google website, and yeah, and you can type boot 132 Hackintosh, so it will show tons of the information. So yeah, so it is like a burn to a DVD to runs on the non-Apple Intel PC, and it is the absolute first vanilla version of macOS. No heavily modified installer, no hacked distribution, just Apple installer, so you guys can see here. Yeah, but it is OpenCore, sorry. So it is the boot 132. So it added something called text. So If you guys don't know what is KEX, so KEX, it is basically drivers that allows macOS to understand your computer's hardware, and every installation required swapping disk, boot, eject, and insert another DVD. Wait, but I think boot 132 proved something revolutionary. Maybe the operating system didn't need changing. Maybe the computer simply, so here it is, maybe this computer simply needed someone introduced itself correctly. The idea would change Hackintosh forever. Alright, so next up is EFI-X USB dongle. So this USB, I've already mentioned you guys, it was cost about $200 or almost $200, and it's advertised that can install OS X on any PC. So is it the truth? But on Tom's hardware page, EFI-X, a company claimed that to have the ultimate solution, instead of burning CDs, user bought a small USB devices like this. So this is called EFI-X, and it costs around $200. Plug it in, and supposedly any supported PC could magically become a Mac. The advertisement is impressive. No complicated setup, no terminal patches, and just worked. But for many people, EFI-X was cost nearly $200. So okay, so EFI-X, a lot of forums says that it is a scam or something. So EFI-X, a lot of the Hackintosh community people and user, they claim that it is a scam. Like, I don't know why, but the company shut down after a year because it is closed code and it was too expensive, and it was closed source. And some believe that EFI-X relied heavily on boot 132. So here it is, cost roughly up to $280 for a USB. I think it is not worth it. But the damage was already done. Trust disappeared while enthusiastic collaborate in public forums. Eventually, the companies faded away. Its website disappeared, support ended, and today EFI-X is a remembered last breakthrough. And it seems that this USB, I think this USB is quite cool. I guess so. And now let's move up next to. So next lineup we have Chameleon bootloader. So I think you guys here already know about Chameleon bootloader. So it is basically a funny lizard that allows you guys to boot macOS, and it is also support the dual boot also, and it is like here. So wait for me. Alright, so for Chameleon, and while EFI-X, you guys already know, while EFI-X was trying to sell Hackintosh, the community built something better, and it is called Chameleon Bootloader Project, and it is from 17 years ago, I think, and it's for free, released in 2008, and Chameleon combined the ideas from boot 132, awesome, and years of community research, and instead of booting from CD, everything lived directly on the hard drive. No more swapping disks. no more complicated installation every reboot. Alright, so next lined up is Chimera bootloader. So I guess that you guys already know about it. And yeah, technically Chimera wasn't a completely new bootloader, but it is a customized version of Chameleon bootloader based on the latest Chameleon 2.0 RC5 trunk version, and I think its goal was an innovation. It was convenience to get together multi-beast, and user can build Hackintosh system without editing dozens of files manually. So here it is from Chris111 in GitHub. So this is Chameleon bootloader, and I think this is a bootloader file. So I will take some videos about it. So here it is, the Chameleon bootloader, and it offers very little that Chameleon didn't already have. Like UEFI motherboards became common, both Chameleon and Chimera slowly reached their limit. Hackintosh needed something designed for the future. Alright, so next lined up is Clover. That feature arrived in 2013. So you guys here probably knows about Clover bootloader. Unlike previous generation, Clover fully embraced UEFI. So you can see here, yeah, and powerful ACPI patching, kernel patching, cache injection, and then it also came with theme support and multiple operating system. It wasn't simply another bootloader, it became an entire platform. During the mid 2010s, Clover dominates the Hackintosh world, and you can see here when I visit the Olaria website, it's still here. So if you build Hackintosh between 2014 and 2019, it's still good. And every motherboard seems require different settings. The flexibility that made Clover powerful also made it complicated, but here's the short image that my laptop is using Clover bootloader in the back of the time. So I'll show you guys here. So here it is, and now let's move to the next one. Alright, so next up is OpenCore, released in 2019 by the Asindara team. So I think that you guys probably know this team. So I've already made tons of videos about how to install macOS on Windows PC. Yeah, so if you don't know how to install, you can visit on my YouTube and I'll show you. So OpenCore wasn't designed to be easier, it was designed to be correct. So you can see I'm currently editing on my OpenCore bootloader system. Instead of modifying everything possible, and yeah, I've also made a video of that shows you how to do OpenCore with OpenCore bootloader. So if you don't know how to do the dual boot on your own system, I've already made one, so make sure to check it. And now, if you visit the EFI of the Olaria website, so here you can see there's an OpenCore desktop and laptop. It was designed to be correct instead of modifying everything possible. OpenCore focuses on accurately reproducing Apple's own boot. So here it is, the OpenCore configuration. So here's the OpenCore bootloader, like the EFI that boots your machine. So at first, many users disliked OpenCore. Time and patience here. It required patience and reading tons of documentation, and manually using understand your own hardware. There were no magic button for that, but I think over time something remarkable happened. Hackintosh installation became more stable than before. Major macOS updates stopped feeling like Russian roulette. Sleep worked, power management improved. Even genuine Mac users began borrowing OpenCore technology through OpenCore Legacy Patcher. And yeah, so when I was trying to update to another new version of macOS 26, it just boot normally without any problem. So you hear this is the OpenCore configurator one, and this is the OCLP mode. OCLP stands for OpenCore Legacy Patcher. It is the customized version for the macOS 26 to fix major problem like sound, because at the update 26, Apple removed the Apple HDAX, resulting to Apple AOC sound drivers won't work. So I'm currently editing on my Hackintosh system. So if you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click on the like, subscribe and share button. And I'll see you next video soon. And if you're wondering how can I install macOS on Windows PC, make sure to check my videos on my YouTube channel. And this is the end of the video. And yeah, have a good day.